America was once considered a paradise of affordable goods and endless opportunities. But in recent years, everything has changed, and chances are, you've felt the impact too. For residents of high-cost cities like Seattle, even affording basic groceries has become a serious struggle. People are increasingly frustrated as the prices of essentials continue to soar, affecting every aspect of daily life. Everything, from food and medicine to electronic components, has become alarmingly expensive. And even when you have the money, buying what you need can still be a challenge, especially with many supermarkets and local stores shutting down. Major American retail chains that once served as economic anchors, such as Walmart, CVS, and Apple, are quietly scaling back. These closures are leaving entire communities without nearby shopping options, causing widespread job losses and economic uncertainty. The fallout is already evident. Neighborhoods are being stripped of vital resources, and workers are losing their livelihoods. This video will explore 10 U.S. states currently experiencing severe retail decline as corporations retreat. If you think this doesn't affect you, think again. What's happening in these states may soon impact your neighborhood. The purpose of this video is to analyze the situation using publicly available data and credible news sources. It is strictly for informational purposes and does not seek to criticize any specific individual or organization. Let us begin with the first state, New York, once a vibrant retail center, now gradually falling into silence. New York longtime residents of New York may recall weekends squeezing into the Target in Brooklyn or taking their families to Best Buy for holiday shopping. But the familiar hustle and bustle of these places has faded into stillness. Countless retail locations have permanently shut their doors, and "For lease" signs now outnumber the neon lights. Once a shining symbol of modern American life, New York is witnessing an alarming retreat by major retail chains. In just the past year, nearly 1,000 retail stores across the state have closed. Big names such as CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Bed Bath & Beyond, and even Macy's, an iconic department store that once stood as a proud symbol of Manhattan, have either scaled down or exited entirely. Walgreens, for instance, looks much the same today as it did decades ago, failing to evolve or adapt meaningfully. Behind these closures lies a harsh truth. Thousands of New Yorkers who relied on jobs like cashiering, sales, and warehouse work have suddenly found themselves unemployed. These were the roles that helped them afford to live in a notoriously expensive city. According to the New York State Department of Labor, the retail sector's unemployment rate has now surpassed 7.5%, its highest level since the pandemic. Meanwhile, commercial rent in residential areas has surged by 11% in just the past year. The cost of living in New York City remains double the national average, creating an impossible situation for both consumers and workers. For the average New Yorker, the closure of retail stores has meant fewer shopping options and higher prices. Basic goods are becoming scarcer and more expensive. One shopper noted they were buying jeans for their daughter and stocking up on essentials as quickly as possible. Many elderly residents, especially those who are not comfortable shopping online, now have to travel much farther just to buy food or medicine. Rising gas prices only compound the issue, prompting some families to make bulk purchases at places like Costco to limit trips and avoid additional costs. To make ends meet, many families are being forced to cut spending drastically. One father shared that his wife has started penny pinching to avoid overspending, saying, "I have 2 boys and they're constantly hungry." The irony is stark. While many corporations continue to report record profits and the financial markets remain robust, the very neighborhoods that supported these businesses for generations are being abandoned without explanation. And if New York, the largest commercial hub in the country, can no longer sustain its retail infrastructure, what does that say about smaller, poorer, and less influential states? California. Let's move next to California, the most populous state in the U.S., which once thrived as a retail paradise. Just a few years ago, stores like Best Buy, Target, and Macy's could launch discount events that drew long lines of eager customers. Bustling shopping streets in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego once symbolized the American consumer dream. But those days are quickly fading. According to the California Retailers Association, more than 1,500 retail stores have closed across the state in 2024 alone. Major brands including Target, CVS, Walgreens, Nordstrom, and even Walmart have scaled back significantly. This rapid decline has transformed many rural and suburban areas into retail deserts, places with little or no access to major stores. The elderly, who are unfamiliar with online shopping, and the poor, who often lack reliable transportation, are especially vulnerable. Consumers now face limited options and significantly higher prices. A mother of 3 young children shared her struggle. Despite buying only a few essentials like chicken sausages, her weekly grocery bill reached $338, most of which went toward food. She recalled her childhood, when snacks, fruits, and orange juice were freely available at home for guests. Today, a single box of strawberries can cost up to $25, prompting her to wonder, would our parents have been shocked by these prices? According to UC Berkeley, the price of consumer goods in California has risen by an average of 9.1% over the past year, far exceeding the national average. Families are forced to hunt for discounts just to survive the week. Many are now facing heartbreaking choices between purchasing food or paying for essential medications for elderly family members. As retailers continue to shut down, jobs are disappearing too. The departure of companies that once employed thousands has left a void, particularly for older workers who are now competing in a market where AI and automation are steadily replacing human labor. And if even California, long seen as a symbol of the American dream, can't maintain its basic retail chains, what hope remains for the rest of the country? Texas now, let's examine Texas, long referred to as a mecca for shoppers. Known for low taxes, affordable prices, and a relatively reasonable cost of living, cities like Austin and Houston were once hubs of retail growth. Yet even amid ongoing development, a troubling trend has emerged: the steady disappearance of retail stores that once served working-class families. In 2024 alone, it's estimated that more than 300 major retail outlets have shut down across Texas. This includes closures of Walmart, Walgreens, Dollar Tree, and CVS, particularly in suburban communities and low-income towns. Even rapidly growing residential neighborhoods have not been spared. At the same time, prices for food and basic consumer goods continue to rise. Shoppers are being forced to travel long distances, sometimes dozens of miles, to find open stores. Rising operational costs have led many companies to cut their losses and close locations to preserve profits. For workers, this wave of closures has meant sudden job losses with no time to prepare. For families supported by the incomes of drivers, teachers, and service workers, the loss of local, affordable stores is devastating. Consumers now face a difficult choice: either pay inflated prices at the few remaining stores or shop online, often incurring high delivery fees and long wait times. In El Paso and suburban Houston, many elderly residents who once walked to their neighborhood CVS or Walmart must now rely on family members for transportation, if that's even an option. Without a car, and sometimes without good health, many are left isolated, struggling to meet even their most basic needs. The closure of large stores also impacts surrounding small businesses, reduces neighborhood safety, devalues local real estate, and erodes the sense of community. This forces us to ask, how is it that in a state as large and resource-rich as Texas, people are struggling to find a simple bag of rice, a can of soup, or basic pharmaceuticals at fair prices? And if even Texas, seen as the ideal growth region of the United States, can't protect its retail networks for ordinary citizens, then what is happening in poorer, more vulnerable states? Don't look away, because in the next state we explore, residents must drive 40 minutes just to buy cotton swabs, and retail chains have almost completely disappeared. Mississippi. In many small towns across Mississippi, the disappearance of major retailers has quietly reshaped everyday life. Once, Walmart was more than just a place to shop. It served as the heart of the community. It was a spot to meet, converse, and feel connected. Now, even the last remaining stores are quietly shutting down. Over the past 18 months, it is estimated that more than 700 retail locations have closed throughout the state. Discount chains like Dollar Tree, CVS, and Walgreens have been among the most affected. Nearly 40% of rural counties no longer have access to full-scale grocery stores, effectively turning them into food deserts. Mississippi's policies may lack the strength needed to retain businesses. High taxes and insufficient infrastructure have discouraged new investment. Additionally, a mass migration of the younger population has left many communities populated mainly by elderly residents, reducing purchasing power and accelerating demographic aging. But the closure of stores like Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS means more than losing a place to shop. It represents the loss of essential financial support for thousands of residents who once relied on local retail jobs. Now, many face prolonged unemployment without qualifying for benefits. For consumers, the absence of these chains has left them dependent on expensive alternatives. Essential items such as diapers, food, and medication now cost 10 to 20% more, pushing many families into debt. Although simpler meals can stretch a family's budget, they often lack the nutrition necessary to keep children healthy. Corporate leaders insist these cuts are necessary business decisions, but how necessary can they truly be when entire communities are left without infrastructure or viable alternatives? When profit is the only priority, who protects the people who need just a modest store to survive? Illinois. There was a time in Illinois, especially in the suburbs of Chicago, when nearly every convenience was within reach. A Walgreens stood on the corner, a Walmart across the street, Target next to the pharmacy, and a CVS right by your favorite bakery. It wasn't just about convenience, it was about feeling part of a complete, functional community. That feeling is now fading. Even in active, populated neighborhoods, major retailers are pulling out. Walgreens, which is headquartered in Chicago, has closed hundreds of locations. CVS is slowly withdrawing from middle-income and senior neighborhoods. Walmart is scaling back its operations, and Dollar Tree is closing underperforming branches. This decline isn't due to a lack of customers, it's because the residents aren't affluent enough to generate the profits these corporations expect. When a store closes, it's not merely the loss of a shopping destination, it's the disappearance of dozens of jobs. Tens of thousands of people who once worked in retail, clerks, cashiers, managers, are now forced into seasonal roles or early retirement. For consumers, the impact is equally harsh. Many now have to travel more than 40 minutes by bus just to buy fresh food. With fewer choices and higher prices, residents are left with only small, overpriced stores. Why has Illinois, once the industrial heart of America and home to millions of middle-class families, become a place where people feel abandoned, even in the middle of urban centers? Pennsylvania, once known for its industrial might, Pennsylvania cities like Pittsburgh, Scranton, and Allentown were built around manufacturing, steel mills, coal mines, and railroads. Retailers like Walmart, Kmart, CVS, and others supported these hard-working communities. Families would work all week, visit the store together on weekends, and grab a meal at a local restaurant. It was a humble yet proud way of life. Today, that infrastructure is unraveling. Dollar Tree is closing multiple stores, and CVS and Walgreens are withdrawing from neighborhoods home to working-class and elderly populations. Walmart has left many small towns where it was once the primary source of livelihood. Between 2022 and 2024, over 700 major retail stores closed across the state. Rising rental costs, up nearly 10% in central areas like Philadelphia, have made it difficult for local businesses to survive. Meanwhile, states like Ohio and New Jersey are offering better tax incentives, luring businesses away. Michigan. We now turn to Michigan, once called the arsenal of democracy. Cities like Detroit, Flint, and Grand Rapids symbolized American stability, with auto factories, secure pensions, and 24-hour supermarkets and pharmacies. But today, many Michigan neighborhoods lack any major retail stores within a 10 to 15-mile radius. Detroit, once a proud working-class city, now leads the country in retail closures. Walmart has shut down branches in predominantly black and low-income neighborhoods. Walgreens and CVS have also exited once busy districts, leaving behind shuttered storefronts and faded signage. When these anchors leave, nearby businesses, restaurants, bakeries, laundromats, follow. Entire communities become eerily quiet. With fewer stores, prices surge and consumer choices shrink. The rising cost of transporting goods further inflates prices, affecting everything from food to daily essentials. In Flint, some residents must drive over 45 minutes to reach an open store, a daunting task for the elderly and low-income families. What's most heartbreaking is that Michigan isn't the poorest state. Yet it was among the first to be abandoned by corporations who decided it was no longer profitable. If buying milk or rice now feels like a stressful ordeal, can this still be called a middle-class life? Georgia across Georgia, from cities like Augusta to rural communities, residents once found comfort in the simplicity of daily routines. You could pick up dinner at Dollar General, grab medicine at CVS, and swing by Walmart for a few more items. These stores weren't glamorous, but they offered a sense of stability. In just the past 2 years, hundreds of retail stores have closed in Georgia. Household names like Family Dollar, Walgreens, Walmart, and Dollar Tree have pulled out of lower-income or sparsely populated areas. Some communities no longer have a grocery store or pharmacy within a 20-mile radius. When a store disappears, it's more than just a lost convenience. It's the loss of jobs, community ties, and, most painfully, the belief that the system still supports you. A resident from Monroe shared, "We lost the biggest supermarket in town. Now, people must choose between overpriced convenience stores or driving dozens of miles to get fresh food." Georgia is not alone in facing this crisis, but the speed of retail decline here serves as a stark warning. Nevada is known for its glitzy lights, casinos, and towering hotels, especially in Las Vegas. But just a short drive from the Strip, a different reality unfolds. In these neighborhoods, major retailers like Walmart, Walgreens, Target, and Family Dollar have quietly shut down. No press releases, no fanfare, just gone. In the past 2 years, Nevada has lost over 410 major retail locations, including chains like Office Depot and Big Lots. Once a shopper's paradise for tourists and locals, Las Vegas Valley now has more than 25% of its retail space sitting vacant. For residents in places like North Las Vegas, Henderson, or Reno, a store closure disrupts daily life. Casino night shift workers have nowhere to shop after work. Seniors now depend on mobile food pantries because local supermarkets are gone. When retailers exit middle-class neighborhoods, they don't just remove goods, they take jobs, foot traffic, and even the sense of safety. The result? People are left with no alternative but to shop at overpriced, limited small stores. Las Vegas may still be the city that never sleeps, but who is awake to support those working behind the scenes when their jobs and resources vanish? Nevada isn't a poor state, yet many of its communities are treated as if they don't matter.